Hello and welcome to Frontrunner Motorsport, and this is it, the final round of Season 2 from Battersea Park in London. We all know this race is a banger, and it starts with a huge banger. Now, race 1 was obviously all about Buemi and Di Grassi. I'm expecting pretty much the same to a point from this one as well, but it's going to be interesting to see how other drivers do. Nico Prost is fighting Sam Bird for third in the Drivers' Championship. Edams can still lose the team's title to Abt Audi, although there is quite a big points difference. These are the most intriguing things going into the final race of the season, and of course, Di Grassi has a very small lead over Buemi in the driver's title. So just subscribe and we'll get right on with this, I think.
Lucas Di Grassi and Oliver Turvey are on the second row of the grid. It's the championship decider in the second round of FIA Formula E. We go green in London. It's a very good start from Di Grassi. Is he going to be able to pull alongside and try and attack Nico Prost on the run down to turn 1? He's not quite able to do so. Tucks in behind Nico Prost. How aggressive is he going to be? Coming down into turn 3, into the left-hander. He goes side by side. Oh, he hits him! I don't believe it! The two championship contenders out at turn 1, and that means Di Grassi would win the championship on countback. Can you believe it's happened immediately?
I was joking about that in the interview, and we've just seen it.
Buemi's still going though.
Safety car deployed.
All Buemi needs to do now is come into the pits, change over into his other car, set the fastest lap, and he could win the championship.
Can Di Grassi get back to the pits as well?
Well, I don't know if he can. That front right wheel is absolutely royally in trouble.
He'll get there, Jack. He will definitely get there.
Even if he has to get the car out and push like Nigel Mansell.
Can they get the back wing changed on Buemi's car? If they can do that, he's back in the race as a whole. But as you say, if not, he's going to go for that fastest lap.
So, before you even clicked on this video, you knew this was coming. This is hands down one of the most famous moments in Formula E history. You have Buemi on pole, Di Grassi is starting in third. First corner, Di Grassi, I don't think he meant to do it. He touched Nico Prost's car, and I think it sort of just unsettled it, and he just went straight to the back of Buemi. It was just a messy first lap incident. It just so happened the title contenders were next to each other. Very unfortunate. Kind of put a damper on the race because we were kind of excited about Di Grassi versus Buemi. But it was a massive moment, and it has gone down in history. What it means at this point is Di Grassi is champion because it looked like both cars were out. But of course, if Buemi can get back to the pits, he can change car, go for fastest lap, and that would be enough to win the championship. Di Grassi, I think, was trying to crawl around as well, and I can't remember if he makes it or not. But we do have our safety car straight away, and this was one of the most shocking things in Formula E history. Absolutely the most shocking thing ever, which is amazing from an electric motorsport.
It looks like they're not going to bother trying to change that wing. Maybe they can't. Maybe the damage is too much. Maybe it takes too long to change that rear sort of pod coming off.
And puncture as well on the left rear. And here comes Oliver Turvey. He's under a pressure from Sam Bird. Bird loses it, goes sideways, chucks it back, keeps it all together and goes around the outside of Turvey.
The Battle of Britain there, and he passes him.
And now Jean-Eric Verne is going to get stuck into this one as well. He looks to the outside now. Verne hit Turvey an awful lot in the race yesterday, which put Turvey out of the E-Prix. So I don't think Turvey's going to move over and let Jean-Eric Verne and say après-vous very quickly.
There is no love lost between those two. And you see Sebastian Buemi here, swapped cars. He's in his other Renault and ready to go out and try and set that fastest lap.
So Prost leads at the end of lap number 3. We're on to lap 4 of 33 now. Heidfeld second, third for Daniel Abt, fourth for Sam Bird, fifth for Oliver Turvey. Then it's Verne, Piquet, Conway, D'Ambrosio, Senator Costa Fraint, Sarazander Silvestro, and here comes Lucas Di Grassi coming around the final couple of corners now as well.
Okay, so in the aftermath of the first lap carnage, we have had our safety car period. It's been a couple of laps. Nico Prost is leading the race with Nick Heidfeld and Daniel Abt behind him. The team's championship has been pretty much settled in Edam's favour. It was always going to be difficult for Abt Audi to catch him anyway. Di Grassi and Buemi are still circulating at the moment, but it's clear they're just going for fastest lap, and they'll probably call it a day because they're in their second car already. Other than that, Sam Bird pulled a great overtake on Oliver Turvey, and he looks really racy. Vernon Turvey bunched up together last race. They were sort of touching each other a lot, and Turvey ended up in the barrier. They're together again, so it'll be interesting to see how hard Turvey defends from Verne. There's probably no love lost between them. So I'm still expecting an exciting race, but the main two, who we followed for pretty much the entirety in the first London race, are out. So we're going to have to put our focus somewhere else.
Lefty, oh, Sam Bird. Sam Bird going slowly, a problem potentially for that DS Virgin car.
Don't see damage. So
but it sounds pretty quiet, doesn't it?
Yeah. Maybe it's a problem with the drivetrain. I don't know. It sounds, you know, you can't see any, he hasn't had any contact with the wall.
So Sam Bird cruising, and this could bring out a virtual safety car.
Sam,
or a safety car.
I need you to move the pedal to try and find a point that might work.
It sounds like an actuator issue.
Yeah, play with the pedal, try and find a point that might work.
Nothing is working, Patrick. I've lost all power. Lost all power.
Bird has lost all power, but these guys have won the fan boost. Stefan Sarazan, Sebastian Buemi, and Lucas Di Grassi.
And then come back to P1 and P2.
And but they can't use that fan boost to set the fastest lap of the race. So Di Grassi has it at the moment. Buemi still hasn't left the pits.
No, Di Grassi's on another fast lap there.
This might be karma for Lucas Di Grassi, but the safety car coming out was a really bad timing because he had two fast sectors under him. He would have maybe set fastest lap. It'd been interesting to see if Sebastian Buemi could have beaten it, but this lap is basically done because he can't finish it. Sam Bird has retired from the race, and with Buemi and Di Grassi out as well, that means first, second and fourth in the championship are all out on or before lap 7. That also means that any intrigue this race had also gone with it, because the two title contenders had taken each other out, and Sam Bird was in a fight with Nico Prost for third, but that was now done, and Edams had basically won the team's championship. So there wasn't really much reason beyond just enjoying the race to watch on from this point. But Nico Prost is still leading. One thing that I didn't know about, and I actually find quite interesting, is you can't set fastest lap if you use fan boost. Which just means, what is the point of fan boost? You so rarely saw anyone complete an overtake whilst using it. And if you can't use it to set fastest lap, what purpose does it actually have? And they kept it for so long. I think I've just realised that at no point did I ever think fan boost was a good idea. And it's not fair. In fact, I think the reason they got rid of it was, I think Stoffel Van Dorn got it in every single race of the season, and I think at that point they realised maybe this isn't fair on everyone else. So, fan boost, complete waste of time. I can't wait till they get rid of it.
So, if neither of Di Grassi or Buemi set the fastest lap, then it goes to count back, and in which case Lucas Di Grassi has had more third places than Sebastian Buemi. Let's just watch this though, because this is all going to get very, very feisty. To the outside goes Senna. Oh, and Frains has gone on the back of Jerome D'Ambrosio. Senna's involved in that squabble as well. He already had some nose damage, but Frains, despite mounting D'Ambrosio, appears to be carrying on.
I think Da Costa sort of backed everybody up there into that corner. Was it Da Costa or was it Frains that caused that?
So a bit of a messy restart with Robin Frains almost getting launched into the air, but somehow surviving. The commentators were just explaining that if neither Di Grassi or Buemi set fastest lap, then it would go back to countback, and Lucas Di Grassi would win the championship because he finished third more often. Which makes you think they really need to come up with another system just in case. Like, once you're getting below wins, I think you need something else, because I mean, how great would a one-lap duel be, or something like that? I don't want to see a championship settled because a guy has finished third more times than the other guy. Just a recommendation for any future championships that are pretty close.
Under pressure from the 23-year-old. Oh, Robin Frains is off and he's broken his front right. He's had a collision surely out there somewhere. Not the way the Dutchman would have wanted his race to finish, and that could be another Qualcomm safety car.
I think you're right. He's hit somebody else, it looks like, just with the damages there where he stopped. It looks like he's hit somebody else. Maybe he's tried to go down the inside.
And there is the Qualcomm safety car. Safety car deployed.
Buemi's coming back in though, isn't he? Because it doesn't serve him to run round behind the
so Da Costa's still going. My guess would be it was Senna, because Senna has now dropped back.
Il va falloir pas trop attendre non plus, parce qu'avec des safety cars toutes les 2 minutes,
Buemi will come back into the pits.
On est d'accord avec toi, il y a encore 20 tours, t'avais tout à fait raison.
So Robin Freins is out and we get our third safety car of the race, and we're not even halfway through yet. Honestly, I haven't actually said much about this race. Nico Prost is still leading, but there hasn't really been that many overtakes, and even though there's been a few incidents that have led to safety cars, it's just led to the race mostly being run under safety car, so not much has really happened. This has not been a very exciting race so far outside of the first lap, unfortunately.
London E-Prix, I have no words for this race, and moderately agree with that one.
Yeah, Jack Nicholls is struggling too. You heard it today. Jack was speechless. It's never happened before. His mum and dad told me.
Buemi back in the pits.
Oh, big move round the outside.
There goes Apps trying to get through, and he has done it, but he's skipped across the chicane as a result.
Everybody's been doing that anyway.
Well,
I think that's completely fair. You know, the sort of the blocking that was going on. Yeah, and here comes the Virgin car, Jean-Eric Verne. Same
that's
result.
not going to work. That's not going to work. He's going to have to get out of that one, and he just about is. And now Turvey is right on the back of Jean-Eric Verne as well.
He might repay the favour from yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. So Prost, it is leading. This is on board with Antonio Felix da Costa, who's now in 8th position. Look at that. How close can he get to the back of Nelson Piquet Jr.?
Right, we're about halfway through the race. I'm sure we're coming into the pit stop shortly, although I think they've been able to go longer because of the safety cars. It's getting interesting in the midfield, or at least the fight for second place. Nico Prost has cleared off once again. Daniel Abt has finally got past Nick Heidfeld, who was really slowing him up. And it was a brave move around the outside. Looks like he just got it done. Both the Neos are running up near the top, 5th and 6th. Best we've seen from them all season, and it'll be interesting to see if it lasts. There are not many cars running in this race. I think we've lost 5 cars, because Buemi and Di Grassi are sort of just circulating in their own little race. Simone Di Silvestro and Robin Freins are both out for Andretti, and Sam Bird is out. So that leaves 13 cars. So Mark Winghart is in big danger of actually scoring a point here. And I honestly, it's a race of attrition, but hopefully that calms down a bit. And to be honest, because there's so few cars, the Neos are able to run quite high. But yeah, as I said, pit stops coming up. Not expecting any big changes up front. I'm sure Nico Prost could come out of the pits before the other cars get round. He has such a big lead. And it's all about the fight for second now. I think Daniel Abt has finally got ahead of Nick Heidfeld. We'll see if he can clear off. Jean-Eric Verne is in just behind, ahead of the Neos.
Oh, so we think Di Grassi's fastest lap has been deleted. Sounded like what he said, because Di Grassi came over the radio and said, oh, I did a 24.7.
Look how close these guys are. The Dragon cars, the Mahindra, the 2 Venturis here. The 2 Next TV TCR cars coming in at shot. It's pretty close.
So this is absolutely fascinating stuff that is unfolding here, because we heard Di Grassi say on the radio, I did a 24.7.
Yeah.
But that lap time appears to have gone.
Unless the stewards have already made a decision.
And got rid of that lap.
Ah, big move.
Oh, there goes Jerome D'Ambrosio up the inside of Nelson Piquet. He's been trying to do that for a while now. And Jerome D'Ambrosio up into 7th spot.
Duval's trying to do the same thing. Look, Duval, his teammate in the red Dragon car there, trying to do the same thing.
Well, we're doing our best, folks, to bring you what's going on here, but it is a slightly complex scenario. Nico Prost is leading the E-Prix, 7 seconds clear.
So even though both Buemi and Di Grassi are not in a fight for this race, we are still spending most of our time focusing on them. I think Buemi's getting a bit frustrated in that he's trying to get a clean lap, but he's been stuck behind Mark Winghart, and now Lucas Di Grassi's come out the pits in front of him, probably just to slow him down. Must be very annoying, and it does sound like on the radio that he's about to kick off. As for the race itself, Prost has a massive lead and is going to be untouchable. Daniel Abt kept ahead of the pack behind him after the pit stops, but Jean-Eric Verne has jumped Nick Heidfeld, so he might try and catch Abt. And behind that, the Neos are starting to fall back. Da Costa's jumped in both in the pit stops, and now the Dragons are starting to move past them. If there's going to be any excitement, it's in that little pack there. Honestly, the front and back of this race, not particularly interesting. We have, I think, 9 or 10 laps to go. I mean, we haven't got much left, but I'm not really expecting too much to happen in this final part of the second season of Formula E.
And there's Di Grassi.
He's got fan boost. Ah, no, he's used fan boost
before the line.
Yeah, before the line to build his top speed up.
Interesting.
So, he's a smart boy.
Very interesting stuff. Here he comes. Oh, he's locked up.
Ah, he's missed the corner.
Oh, just about got it in there. Let's see what he's got in the first sector, Lucas Di Grassi. It is a... just trying to find his lap time, 1 second of 15.4. No,
nowhere near. Nowhere near quick enough there.
First sector for Buemi, he was a 15.2.
There you go, 2/10 up the road. Even I can do that math.
Well done.
Thanks.
There's Buemi pushing as well. Verne hasn't got much usable energy left, you know, in third place. Look at that, he's got 30%, so that's going to be a tricky one. Oliver Turvey is now under a lot of pressure behind from D'Ambrosio. Here comes D'Ambrosio. Turvey having to ease off. I wonder if
in turn 1.
That's brave stuff from D'Ambrosio, but he's made it through.
I think it was Nelson Piquet who's clearly in trouble. So,
well, 4 laps left. Honestly, I've skipped a big chunk of this race because there has not really been that much going on. It's mostly been the back and forth between Di Grassi and Buemi fighting for fastest lap. Buemi now has it set a lap time that looks pretty much untouchable for Di Grassi. Di Grassi did something interesting with his fan boost in that he used it before the line. So that when he crossed the line, he was a lap where he hadn't used fan boost, therefore it counted, but he then messed up the first corner, which is my normal Formula 1 2022 strategy. As for this race, Prost has... again, 2 races in a row, we've barely seen him. He's been so dominant. Daniel Abt, clean race. Haven't really seen much of him either. Jean-Eric Verne is in 3rd, but he's struggling with energy. And then behind that, we're just watching the Neos drop back. There's been some good overtakes in the midfield, and the Venturis are moving up, the Dragons are moving up, Neos are moving down. And that's really been the source of all the excitement in this race, is that tight midfield battle from... At one point, it was like 2nd place to 10th. And really now, it's sort of like 4th, 5th place down to 12th. That's where your eyes should be, but we do keep cutting back to Di Grassi and Buemi, which is getting a little bit annoying because they're not really doing anything. And it's nice to drop in on them every now and again and see them try and set a fastest lap, but way too much of this broadcast has been focused on them. Same in race 1, it was just too much. And... we're not really focusing on the most interesting parts of the race. But we have 3 laps of the season left, and let's see if anything changes.
He's close. You've got a cracking run off of there, Jack. Here he comes. He's going to look to the inside. That Mahindra goes in a straight line.
It does, doesn't it? They're basically using a similar powertrain to each other. And Buemi,
first segment.
Yep. So we'll keep an eye on his sector times. But here comes Antonio Felix da Costa. Is he going to be close enough? Coming through the long left-hander at Rosary Gate. He's not. Heidfeld late on the brakes. Da Costa takes much more speed into the corner.
You know, the car Da Costa's driving, the second car in the picture there, is last year's technology. Buemi has done fastest sector 2 as well, so he's on a cracking lap here. And he's getting held up though. There's traffic in front of him and a yellow flag. I just thought, oh, there's a green. So who?
And Buemi goes around the outside and goes, it's Conway. He just got past his teammate and up in 9th place, and now it looks like he's run into trouble. So at the moment...
So 1 lap left of the season to go, and Di Grassi almost won the championship. In fact, I think Buemi's best time is only 5/100ths of a second faster than Di Grassi. So Di Grassi's going to lose the championship by 5/100ths of a second, which seems like nothing. And he almost got it, but he locked up. And that's basically it, championship done, because... I think with time he might get another lap in, but I don't know if he has to sort of set the car up with a lap or something. But I think this was the point where it was pretty much done. That last attempt, it was a pretty good one, but it didn't quite hit the mark. As for the rest of the race, Mike Conway has now broken down in his Venturi. I doubt we'll get a safety car this close to the end, but I think we'll have yellow flags in that part of the track. And I don't really see anything changing because it has got very strung out. So 1 lap left, and I think this is just going to be a parade to the line.
Here comes Nico Prost. What will be confirmed when Prost crosses the line is that Renault will win the team's championship. Down towards the final corner comes Nico Prost.
He has been dominant today.
He was dominant yesterday, took victory around Battersea Park, and in the final race here in this park in London, Nico Prost come towards the final corner. He was helped because the championship protagonists whacked into each other at the start of the race.
He's looking in his mirror, he's going to have to look a lot longer than that.
The checkered flag falls, Prost wins, Renault are the champions.
Verne is out of energy.
Verne has hit 0%, so he is not going to get that third place. I think that'll go to Nick Heidfeld. But Sébastien Buemi in the pits.
Bravo les mecs, alors je veux juste vous dire, j'avais plus de puissance le dernier tour.
It's the same thing that happened yesterday to Sam Bird.
Yep, and Verne hit 0% before he got to the line. I'm pretty sure that should promote Heidfeld up into third place. But all of that means that Sébastien Buemi, with that fastest lap, is the FIA Formula E champion of Season 2.
And that was it. The final race of Season 2, and Sébastien Buemi is your champion just. In fact, it was only a final lap that took him to the crown. As for the race itself, it was not the most exciting race in the world. It was a bit messy. A lot of safety cars in the early part of the race, and then there were so few cars left on track. There was not much going on in the second half of the race. It was mostly focused on the fast lap battle between Di Grassi and Buemi, and a really good battle in the midfield between numerous cars. As for the result, Prost wins his second London race of the weekend. A great end to the season for him. Behind him, Daniel Abt took second, which was not enough for Abt Audi to win the team's championship. Jean-Eric Verne, I think, finished third, but he went over his power usage, so he was disqualified. So Heidfeld was third. We have the Dragons got back up there. Sarrazin was up there. And I think for the first time in Season 2, Neo got both cars in the points, although 9th and 10th. But still, very good result for them. That ends Season 2. It has been a good season. I think Season 2 was better than Season 1. I think Season 1 started very brightly, but it had a run of really bad races in the middle. I think it was Monaco, Moscow, Paris and Berlin. We had 4 really dull races in a row. Season 2 hasn't really had that problem. There's been a couple of dud races here and there, but for the most part, it's been really good. And I think actually the start of this season, it was a pretty exciting racing series. Now, we have a new champion in Sébastien Buemi. Will he have a better title defence than Nelson Piquet Jr., who, let's face it, this has been a terrible year for him? And will Lucas Di Grassi bounce back? Will Abt Audi triumph over Edams finally in Season 3? You're going to have to subscribe to find out. But before you do that, let's go look at the final standings for the 2015-16 season, Season 2 of Formula E. The final team standings are: Edams win the team's championship with a pretty decent lead over Abt Audi in the end. Virgin, Dragon and Mahindra quite far behind. Sébastien Buemi just beats Lucas Di Grassi to the Drivers' Championship. Nico Prost jumps up into third after a fantastic final 2 races where he took both wins. Sam Bird drops to 4th and Jerome D'Orazio in 5th. So that is it for Season 2. Make sure you subscribe because I will be starting Season 3 very shortly. I am actually looking forward to seeing what Season 3 will be like. We have some new teams coming. There's some different tracks on the calendar. It's going to be glorious. If you haven't already, leave your thoughts in the comments below. Tell me what you thought of Season 2 as a whole, this race, the incident between Di Grassi and Buemi. I'd love to hear what you have to think. And with that, thank you very much for watching. Check out the Let's Watch Formula E playlist for 2 whole seasons now. And have a good one.